And a very good morning to you, fellow Watford supporter. Omar here on this brand new You ORNS pre-match. I do hope that you are having a very good day. I do hope you can hear me as well as we get ready to go here on You ORNS pre-match. I look, this lineup that we've just been courtesy to is a lineup that I really like. Larouci is in the starting lineup today for the Orns, who had off the back of a very good debut in the championship for Larouci. Very good stuff for Watford that he did in the second half of the game. He was one of the real key difference makers in the game against Stoke last Saturday. And as a result, he has been rewarded with a place in the starting lineup. I'm just looking at it once again. Backman is in goal, Sierralta, Pollock, and also you've got Morris as your back three, and you've got Andrews, of course, in there, Sissoko, Deli Bashiru, Chakvatazde, and Bio up top with Kayembe also on the right-hand side of him. And so that's really what you're looking at. Larouci is on the left side. Larouci making his starting debut in the championship. That is a very good thing. A debut as a starter, his starting debut, I should say, debut as a starter in the championship for Watford today against Derby County. Derby County, a newly promoted side who I think will offer some very interesting things today at Vicarage Road. They're going to come into this game with nothing to lose. They have got everything, I think, to prove. They want to prove that they belong in the championship. And of course, they will test themselves against the Watford side, of course, that will be looking to maintain their 100% record as they've had to start the season off. This is, of course, the third game in 4 consecutive games at Vicarage Road. Of course, the previous 2 were Watford victories. And so we're looking for win number 3 in a row at home to start off this season. It should be a quite interesting game. Derby could be tricky. Look, Derby have been in the championship most recently under the likes of Frank Lampard and then later on Wayne Rooney, who we'll see on Tuesday, by the way, against Plymouth in round number 2 of the Carabao Cup at the Vic. But Derby County will be a team that will be quite interesting to deal with. And they can be tricky, Derby. They have, look, they can cause some problems. So Watford need to be aware of those problems. They need to deal with them today at the Vic. The game, of course, kicks off in just under an hour. I do hope that you can hear me if you are watching on YouTube. Welcome again to You ORNS pre-match, not post-match. That will be coming later on as we get ready for Watford versus, of course, Derby County. I'm going to get us really hooked up here on the on other social media channels because I forgot to actually put the social media channel up for the Instagram feed, which I'm going to do right now to join in with the Instagrammers. And so we will get them up here in a few moments' time. So it is definitely a very good opportunity for the Hornets, who have started very well, to get themselves up and running for what would be a very good start to their season if they can beat Derby. And I certainly think that that is very possible. I think Watford will prevail in this game. I'd give it a 2-0 Watford victory today at the Vic against Derby, and I'll be repeating that shortly. And I do want to welcome our Instagram viewers, Instagram Live. Welcome to this You ORNS pre-match. Yours truly, Omar here. And welcome to all Watford supporters who happen to be looking at this and watching this. Watford is on top, has joined us live on Instagram. Thank you very much indeed. And a very good afternoon to you. I'm a new fan. What is going on? Well, thank you and congratulations. Welcome aboard. Watford is on top. As a new fan here, nice to see you. Jack Tabanor has joined us live on Instagram and, of course, on YouTube. Richard Roper has done the same. Hello to you, Jack, and to you, Richard. Joe Larkin has also joined us on yours. Well done, Joe. Thank you very much indeed. You're all right, Omar, says Jack. I'm all right, mate. Jack Tabanor, I am fine. It is great to see you there, and I hope you're doing all right. Richard Roper, good afternoon to you, and I do hope that you are well and in good fettle. And hello there to everybody who's coming in. Kev PA, thank you, Kev. We have it all going on here on Instagram. It's all jumping off. What's them fireworks behind you, Omar? Joe, I don't know what they're doing with this now on Instagram. They do this new thing now. I don't know why. When you have your phone, if you say something, whatever, like the thing I just said, all of a sudden there's big fireworks. It's something that is completely beyond my control. It is really funny. I don't know why it does that, but it's not me. It's something to do with Instagram and the iPhone. So there we go. Hello there. Hello, sir, to you as well, Kev. Nice to see you. Hope you're well. Is all coming up here on Instagram and on YouTube, wherever you are watching across the world. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Jack Taberner says, yeah, I'm doing good. Hope the rain stops, though. Oh, dear, it's raining out there. I'm sorry to hear that. Lewis, hello to you, Lewis. I hope you're doing good. Nice to see you. What's your prediction today, Omar? Says Joe, and Joey Pacheco has also come to us. Hello, Joe, and hello, Joey. Joe Larkin, my prediction for today is Watford 2, I almost said Stoke. Watford 2, Derby County 0. That is my prediction today. I've been very close on these predictions. The first 2 or 3 games, I had Millwall 2, Watford 2. That didn't quite work, and I'm glad it didn't. I had Watford 3, Stoke 1. That didn't quite work, and I'm glad it didn't. It was 3-0. So today I'm going with Watford 2, Derby County 0 today. I don't think this is going to be as easy a game for Watford than the first 2 might have been, because I think with a newly promoted side, you've got to be very, very careful about how things are. And at home, I think that Derby are going to try to throw everything at Watford. They're on the road. So at home, Watford are going to have some discipline and be patient against a Derby side who will have everything to prove here on this one. The newly promoted side could be tricky for Watford today, but I do think Watford will get the victory. I'm going to read all your comments, so keep going here on You ORNS pre-match on both Instagram and on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining on the YouTube channel at You ORNS WFC. It's YouTube, youorns.com, I should say, / @ You ORNS WFC. Lewis says he's on his way home, but I'm going to listen to it on the radio. Very nice. Tracy, welcome. It's great to see you, Tracy. Hope you're well. Thank you for being here, Tracy. Thank you very much indeed. And all good, says Lewis. Thank you very much. It's chucking it down. Oh no, Jack Tabanor. It's chucking it down. Oh, that's really disappointing. Well, here it's still dark in San Francisco, California. So I don't think it's going to rain here yet. That's probably later on in the year. But the weather's been very nice out here, at least. Sunny, fairly warm. It was 80 degrees yesterday here in San Francisco. I know. But I do hope that rain stops for you, Jack Tabanor. It's good to see you. Jack's prediction is 3-1 Watford, Kayembe Andrews and Chava to score the goal, says Jack. What are your predictions? Jack Tabanor's given his. I've given mine. We both predict Watford wins, but we just have different score lines. Mine's 2-0 and Jack's is 3-1. What is your prediction today on Instagram or YouTube, whomever you might be, wherever you might be in the world? What's your prediction? What's your score prediction today for Watford versus Derby County? Jack Boddington's joined us from down under. Nice to see you, Jack. Thank you for joining us. Joe Larkin, I think Lerucci or Barr might get one today. Very good call, Jack. Joe, pardon me, Joe. Very good call. I think you might be correct about that. Same as Jack said, for Watford is on top with his 3-1 prediction. And hey, Omar, how are you today? Jack, I'm doing really good, mate. It's good to be here, nice and early in the morning here. Of course, we're less than about 45 minutes away from game time, from kickoff time at the Vic. So I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking, Jack. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. And Tracy as well. I'm okay, thank you. A big hi to everyone, says Tracy. That's really great to see. Some YouTube commenters now. Greg Evans, my boy, just won 5-4 in his morning game in Czech. So I'll take the same. All right then, Greg. Greg, thank you very much on the YouTube for your comment. Greg has joined us and predicted a 5-4 victory for Watford over Derby County today. That should be a goal fest for you then, Greg. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm sure that Tom Cleverley does not want that kind of scoreline, but you never know in these games in the championship. We've seen all kinds of scorelines. So, Greg, thank you for your comment from the Czech Republic. It's great to see you on YouTube. As for everybody on Instagram, it's really good to read your comments out. No need to brag, says Joe, about the weather. I know. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? It's just one of them things. Look, sometimes the weather is awful here. Sometimes it's just very, look, I don't mind the fog too much here, but sometimes it can be too much in this part of San Francisco, at least. It can be very overcast for much of the day, and then you'll get maybe an hour of sun, and then the sun will disappear and the fog will come back in. That's the way it is. So sometimes it's not that great here if you're not the biggest fog fan in the world. But thank you very much, Joe, for your comments. Hornet Gary and Graham have joined us. Hello, Hornet Gary. Hello, Graham. It is pre-match time, and you're here with us, and it's great to see you both on You ORNS pre-match before Watford versus Derby County today. That lineup's quite good. I mean, it's fairly unchanged, except for, of course, one. Larouci is starting in the lineup. I think that's going to be an excellent thing for Watford because he shows you how good he is down that left side. And it's great to see him get his first start in the championship. That is good news. Michael Thorpe has joined us. That's also good news. Hello to you, Michael Thorpe. 4-0 Watford, says Kev. Jack Boddington, 2-0, my prediction today. Chakvidar is the man of the match. Yesterday, said Jack Tabanor. It was lovely down in Dorset. I went down there for the day yesterday, says Jack Tabanor. Like, what's the weather doing? It really needs to sort itself out. Yeah, there's this thing called climate change that really, I think, is a real big reason why you've got these rapid swings in weather. Now, I know England is renowned for the change in weather sometimes all of a sudden. I know very well as someone from England and who, of course, born and raised and grew up there. And I remember when the weather would change in an instant. It would be raining one moment, and then the sun would come out while it's raining, and then the raining would stop. So it is really wild, Jack Tabanor. I do not know. But definitely we've got this crazy thing with the climate that definitely affects all of this. It's undeniable. So, Jack, thank you for that. Watford is on top, predicts a 3-1 Watford win today over the Rams. We shall see. Hi, mate. Come on, Watford, says Michael Thorpe. Absolutely. It's great to see you, mate. Michael, it's always good to see you. Thank you very much indeed for being here on You ORNS pre-match. Of course, we'll be doing this after the match as well, and we'll also be on YouTube live as well. I want to thank the YouTubers for watching and Greg Evans for making his contribution, and thank you so much for that. There'll be a few more minutes before moving on here and having everybody get back to business as we get toward the top of the hour, where Watford will take on Derby County. The Rams, then, a team that, look, could pose some problems today for Watford, I think, as a newly promoted side. These are some of the trickiest games you have to play when you're an established championship side like Watford are, and on a very good run so far, 100% record. This is a very tricky game today for Watford. This team, Derby, is going to come in here with nothing to lose, very fearless. I think they'll present some problems for Watford, and Watford are going to have to be disciplined and patient today if they're going to get these 3 points. And I think Watford will win the game, but I just think this game might be a bit trickier for Watford than they expect. So keep that in mind. Again, my prediction is a 2-0 win, but it's going to be a tricky game for Watford. That's my prediction as well. So let's read the rest of your comments. It's raining so much in Australia right now. The other Jack Boddington, has said from down under, and it's late there, Jack. And what, we're talking close to 10 o'clock at night, or just about 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday night for you in Australia, and it's raining so much right now, says Jack Boddington. I know we need the rain, but goodness gracious, do we need that much at 10 o'clock at night? Probably not. Huey has joined us. Hello, Huey. Nice to see you on You ORNS pre-match. On Instagram, it's live here on YouTube as well. Thank you so very much indeed, YouTubers, for joining us as well. Greg Evans has made his contribution. Thank you, Greg. Anyone else who would like to make a contribution with a comment on YouTube, you're more than welcome to do so. And on Instagram live as well. It's great to see you all. Jack Tabanor, speaking of contributions and comments, Jack Tabanor has just told us on Instagram that we need these 3 points and hope Burnley and Sunderland draw against each other, as then if we win, we go top of the league. Absolutely, Jack Tabanor. I do hope that we do get this win and that Burnley and Sunderland draw. That would be the ideal result for us today. Get these 3 points again against a team that's going to make life a bit tricky, I think, for Watford today at the Vic. And then hopefully Burnley and Sunderland cancel themselves out. Now, Watford are in a run right now, not only of a 100% record, but they're also on a run of 4 consecutive home matches. This is the third of those 4. And so Watford need to navigate this game today against Derby County. And then, of course, if they can get that win, they've got the small matter on Tuesday of Plymouth Argyle, Wayne Rooney's lot, coming into the Vic on Tuesday in round number 2 of the Carabao Cup. So, look, we think about that for Tuesday, but we still do have to get this game today out of the way. Derby County travel here to take on Watford. Watford now, if they can win this game, they will definitely be very close to the top of the table, provided that they will be top, provided Burnley and Sunderland get the draw against each other today. And so that's what we're looking for. Jack Boddington, Derby have a point to prove today. Watford can't rush today. I totally agree. This is what I've been saying. Jack Boddington has just chimed in on Instagram of this. The Derby have a point to prove. And I totally agree with you, Jack Boddington. This is going to be a tricky game for Watford. I think Watford win the game, but Derby County will come in here looking to measure themselves up against an established championship side like our lot, and they're going to be throwing things at us. Watford are going to have to deal with this and be patient. And I agree, Watford cannot rush the game today. I totally agree. Watford cannot be overconfident either, thinking they got the game in the bag. That's another thing that can happen. I think Tom Cleverley will remind them of that. Coach Clevs will be very clear that you've got to take this team very seriously. Don't be overconfident. Be patient. Don't get away from the things that you've been doing so far this season. Very important stuff. Tracy says, I'm excited for lots of goals. I feel excited for lots of goals. There we go. Tracy adds, first time for seasons. Hey, I'm a Hornet. Always positive. That's good. Tracy, I'm glad to hear that from you. We have some Watford fans who aren't like you are in terms of being positive, and I'm glad that you are, because I have a good feeling about the game today for Watford as well. And then the first time for seasons, as Tracy has just said on Instagram, she's positive, always positive as a Hornets fan and as a Hornet. And so I'm really hoping, Tracy, that we get this win today, and I believe we will. So it's great to see your comments, and thank you for joining as always. Thank you very much. Michael Thorpe asked this question. What do you think about the new players coming in, mate? Well, so far, it's not been as many as we'd like. I think some of the additions that have come in will help us. I am excited to see what they can do. Of course, now we're on August the 24th. So, Michael, we have barely a week to go. I think it's August 30th, which is when the transfer window actually shuts for Watford. I'm liking the fact that we can probably get a striker, but I just don't know who it's going to be. There have been rumors about a striker from Bournemouth coming in. There have been other rumors around there. We will see how that shakes out. I'm really not sure about what we're going to do with everything, because I think we still need at least 2 more players. We need another defender in central defense, because I think Wesley Hood, there have been all kinds of rumors about Wesley Hood flying out of here to Turkey or to Saudi Arabia. That has not been confirmed yet, but that's a big rumor going about. Michael Brown says, so sad to see Asprilla leave. And that's Michael Brown on YouTube with that comment. Yep, Asprilla is going to be gone. Very sad to see it as well, but it's going to be something that we've known about this, by the way, Michael, for quite some time, that he's going to be out of here. So Michael Brown on YouTube is saying that, and I agree. It's a very sad loss when it finally gets sorted. He will be gone here. And so Michael Brown, I'm sorry, Michael, on YouTube. Thanks for your comment. The other Michael Thorpe, I don't know. I'm not, listen, I would love to see more. Watford always are very guarded with what they do. The financial considerations notwithstanding, obviously, is a factor. If we can get another central defender in here, and if we can get a number 9 in here, I will actually be a lot happier. But we'll see what the market produces. We've got some decent people. Tom Ince has come back in. I was very surprised about the 2-year contract. Remember, he had the hat-trick last week in the Cup. But I would like to see some involvement from him in the Championship. He did not impress me at all against Millwall when he came in, but we'll see. Championship to Carabao Cup is very different. You can bet that Ince will be playing in the Carabao Cup game if he's available to do so on Tuesday. Matthew, WFC, and Harrison Allardyce has joined us. Pedro just scored the winner for Brighton. Love it, says Harrison. Oh, that's great. João Pedro is going from strength to strength, isn't he, Harrison? He really is. It's great to see his career blossom now at Brighton. No ill will at all toward João Pedro. Look, a lot of players are going to come in here and leave. You know, we're not an established Premier League club. And even if we were an established Premier League club, they want to play at places where they can get silverware. And it's not to say that Brighton will get silverware, but Brighton at least made it to Europe last season. And listen, you can't blame players of that ilk leaving us to go to a place where they can play in Europe. They want European football. You can't blame João Pedro. And that's really good. Harrison has just told us on YouTube, Instagram, for those of you on YouTube, Harrison has just told us on Instagram that João Pedro has just scored the winner for Brighton. I have not turned the TV on, so I have not been able to see this myself, but that's great news. Thank you very much for that news there, Harrison. On YouTube, on Instagram, I'm getting confused. I've got all these formats. Woo! We are heading toward the bottom of the hour. It's nearly 2:30, coming up to 2:30 in the United Kingdom. I don't know what time it is in the Czech Republic. Greg, maybe you can tell us on YouTube, and I will relay that to everyone on Instagram. Harrison, thanks for your comment. Michael says next Friday. Next Friday. What will be next Friday there, Michael? Please tell us on Instagram. Tracy says 2 Hornets just scored against Manchester United. That's fantastic stuff. Pedro and Danny Welbeck, says Tracy. Thank you for that, Tracy. Wow. How about that? Brighton are flying. They are flying. And that game is being played, is it not? Isn't that being played at the Amex? That game? The Amex, Brighton against Man U? I think it is. That's the game that's going on right now that's probably just about to come to an end. Pedro and Danny Welbeck. How about that? Both of them, as Tracy rightly points out, played at Watford, the former Hornets. Remember, Danny Welbeck was with us during the pandemic year in 2020. It was really good for us. It was very serviceable. Scored the great overhead kick, if you remember that, in the empty Vicarage Road against Norwich City. You might remember that one very well. That year, both we and Norwich went down as well. But that was a game that Watford won with the overhead kick. And Troy Deeney scored in that game as well, if I'm not mistaken, against Norwich City. I don't even remember if they did, but I remember that Danny Welbeck scored that great overhead kick in that match against Norwich, as far as I remember, from 2020. That's 4 years ago now. So that is great news. Thank you, Tracy, for that. Greg Evans on YouTube has told us that it's 60 minutes ahead of 33 degrees. Wow, my goodness me. My goodness me. Well, we'll see. 60 minutes ahead of you. So right now it is 3:30 in the Czech Republic at the moment. It's 33 degrees. That is where we go for the weather forecast. Thank you very much, Greg Evans, for that on YouTube. Michael Brown says this could be the season. Michael on YouTube, Michael Brown says this could be the season where Watford can make their mark in the league. The 3 relegated clubs, Michael Brown on YouTube says, are not as strong as Leicester, Southampton, and they are losing players, and Leeds are losing weaker players. Leeds are weaker, losing players. That is Michael Brown on YouTube. Thank you, Michael, for the comment on YouTube. Great to see you. Brighton have won at Old Trafford. Thank you, Michael Brown, for that update. It was not at the Amex. I thought the game was at the Amex, but Michael Brown has confirmed for us it is at Old Trafford. That is a spectacular win. Very impressive. Man United did not play well last week against Southampton, but they managed against Fulham. Sorry, but they've managed to get the win against Fulham last week, but they did not get the win today at home against Brighton, who have won before, by the way, at Old Trafford recently, and they did it again. I think they won their last season as well, and they followed up with a very good win there today. Brighton, top of the table. They're 2 of 2 now, Brighton, at the top of the Premier League. They have got their 100% record up and running. Harrison says, would you take Ogbonna? We are heavily linked with him. I would take Ogbonna. I think that he would be helpful for Watford. He brings a bit more stature for them, and I definitely would take him. He's not a bad player. You're talking defensively. This is the Ogbonna I'm thinking about. Is this West Ham's Ogbonna? Harrison. I want to because there's several Ogbonas, 1 or 2, I think. but you let me know. I think that's who you're talking about. Is it from West Ham or from the other club that he's at now? Let me know. But I would take him if that's who you're talking about, because I think he'll be very useful for us. I definitely think that he would provide a stature, some spark for us, give us a bit more presence as well. That's my answer to you, Harrison. Jack, I wouldn't mind a little cup run, says Jack. I wouldn't either. Jack Boddington from Down Under. I do hope that we get that from these Hornets. We're capable of doing some good things this season. I think a lot of the pessimism that we saw from fellow Watford fans at the beginning, before the season against Millwall, has obviously dissipated now, coming a few weeks later for obvious reasons, because of what we've been doing so far. The Golden Boys doing a good job so far. I think we'll get the win today. We are at 2:30 in the United Kingdom. We're 6:30 in the morning here in San Francisco, California, and we are 3:30 or thereabouts in the afternoon in the Czech Republic. I'm sorry. Let me change that back now. I want to confirm this again. I'm sorry, Michael Brown. It was Amex. Michael Brown's corrected himself, and I apologize. This was the game at the Amex. I thought it was at the Amex. I thought it was. Brighton at the Amex have won. That's an apology from Michael Brown and from me for repeating what Michael said. But Michael, thank you for apologizing and correcting yourself there. It is a game that Brighton won at the Amex today against Man United. That's a really good win, wherever it is, for Brighton against Manchester United. The first time match against Luton, I think that's sometime in December or September or November. I have to check that. But I will check that, Michael Brown, about that. Watford Serbia, hello to you. Cheers. Nice to see you, Watford Serbia. It is at the Amex. Your friend is wrong, says Harrison. Yes, it's at the Amex, says Jack Boddington. And there we go. I thought it was Jack Boddington. Absolutely is at the Amex. And Michael has apologized for that on YouTube. So yes, indeed, it is on the at the Amex today. Brighton against Manchester United. Very good win for Brighton. They are 2 of 2 at the top of the Premier League. Their new manager there too, isn't that young lad? He's a very young manager, that guy, and he's got 2 out of 2 already for the Premier League. Danny, hello to you, Danny Elby. Nice to see you here on You Orns pre-match on Instagram, and of course we've got the You Orns pre-match on YouTube. Great to see everybody here in the building. We're going to be doing, by the way, for you, those of you watching, we're going to be doing this on YouTube and on Instagram after the game. So please stay tuned for that. It will probably be for you Instagrammers, maybe about 15 to 20 minutes after the game. But for you all on YouTube, we're going to be doing this in concert with X. So I'll be going on X to do the You Orns post-match there. We'll be taking your comments on YouTube as well for that right after the game. And we'll be taking on X your comments and, of course, your calls, live audio there as well. So please do not forget to join us here. And then on Instagram, a few minutes after that, we will do the standard You Orns Extra on Instagram live. Danny has joined us. Hello, Danny, as I've said. Sean has joined us as well. Hello to you, Sean, from here in San Francisco, California, where the sun, well, not the sun, but it's morning here. It's fairly overcast here, actually. Fairly overcast here at the moment, but that is the way it is. It's 6:30 in the morning here in San Francisco. It is 2:30 in the afternoon in the United Kingdom, and in the Czech Republic, where Greg Evans has joined us on YouTube, it is now 3:30 in the morning. Michael Brown, by the way, has made a comment on YouTube. For those of you watching on YouTube, or for those of you watching on Instagram for that matter, Michael Brown says, I think the trend in football is that club owners are going for 30-something managers. Cleverly then is a good fit. Young, upcoming, new ideas when it comes to coaching and management. And I think you're right, Michael Brown. Michael on YouTube has just made that comment. And I think, Michael, you're correct about this. I agree with you. You are beginning to see a trend these days to more younger managers under the age of 40, particularly young managers around 30 or so, who are coming in and making a name for themselves. New ideas, fresh ideas, different things coming in across the board. And you're seeing this in a lot of clubs. Of course, Liverpool, Arne Slot is a slight bit younger, a tad bit younger, I think, than Jurgen Klopp. Of course, Eric Ten Hag is a fairly young manager, and he's I think close to 50 or thereabouts. But you're not seeing too many managers anymore who are over the age of 50 or 55 these days. That trend is definitely changing. So, Michael, thank you for that on YouTube. I think you're right. Certainly, there are a trend toward younger managers, and in the Premier League, we're seeing this now. Enzo Maresca, we're seeing this with the manager at Brighton, who just got a second victory today out of 2. We're seeing this with a number of Premier League clubs. In West Ham changed their manager too. Julian Lopetegui has come in instead of David Moyes, who left last season. He's younger, on the youngish side. So we're seeing this with a lot of managers. I think Julian is in his 50s. Julian is in his 50s. But look, the bottom line is that I agree, Michael. I think that the trend now is toward this younger manager that we are beginning to see across the board. Sean has asked us on I keep saying YouTube. We're on YouTube as well. As I've just spoken to Michael on YouTube. We are also on Instagram Live, and Sean has asked us on Instagram. The score prediction for today. My score prediction is Watford 2, Derby County 0. We've had a number of people chime in with score predictions. I'd love to hear yours as well, Sean and Michael, and also with Greg, if you're watching, and several other people watching on Instagram. If you want on YouTube, if you want to make a comment on score predictions, please do. Mine is Watford 2, Derby County 0. There have been a number of predictions. There was a 5-4 prediction from Greg on YouTube, Watford 5, Derby County 4. There was a Watford 3 and Derby County 1 prediction from Jack Taberner, I believe it was, earlier, and he was on Instagram with us. And so there are a number of score predictions. There was, I believe, another 2-0 scoreline prediction, or a 3-0 scoreline prediction, I think, from Tracy as well on Instagram. So there have been a number of predictions, all favoring Watford to win the game today at the Vic. Would love to hear the scoreline prediction from you as well, Sean, if you would like, and anyone watching on YouTube as well. Michael Brown has added a comment. McKenna at Ipswich, Areola at Bournemouth, O'Neill at Wolves, young coaches making their mark. Thank you for that, Michael. Absolutely. I was trying to think of the other ones. I was trying to think of the other younger head coaches in the Premier League, and those are all of them. Kieran McKenna is going to do good things. I don't think that Ipswich are going to stay up. I mean, some people have backed Ipswich to stay up in the Prem, but I am thinking that regardless of what Ipswich do, I think McKenna is going to have them in a good foundation for a number of years. He's already done that the last 2 years. He's been promoted in a row. He's got Ipswich up from League One, and then got them up from the Championship to the Premier League in 2 years in a row. That's very impressive stuff from him, and we'll see about how he does. It's going to be very tough, though, in the Prem this season for Ipswich. I think they're going to be in some trouble this season, but, I might end up being wrong. For those of you on Instagram, Sean has joined us with a prediction. I think it could be 1-1 today, says Sean, but we could also win 5-0. The reason, Sean says, I think it could be 1-1 as the way they set out against Middlesbrough, against Middlesbrough was sit back and counter attack. Did they get a 1-1 draw against Middlesbrough? Are you talking about Derby against Middlesbrough? Was that a 1-1 draw, Sean? I don't have the information to hand. I could look it up very quickly, but Sean is predicting either 1-1 or 5-0. So that's what Sean on Instagram is telling us. He's predicting a 1-1 draw or a 5-0 win. The Derby won against Middlesbrough, says Sean. So there we go. Derby, a very tricky side. I'm pretty sure of that. Well, we'll see. We'll see about that, Sean. I should really check these things out myself as well. But do you have a particular prediction? Because you really should choose one of those. If you had to choose one of those predictions, Sean, would it be 1-1 or 5-0 today? So let me know, Sean. Let us all know, and I'll repeat it. Will Watford make further signings before the transfer window closes? Michael Brown says on YouTube. I think they will. I don't know who they're going to be. Obviously, none of us do. But, Michael, I do think we'll get one more player in, maybe even 2. I think there's going to be a striker coming in. Rumors are from Bournemouth. Ogbonna might come in as well. We'll see. I don't know who it's going to be. but I do believe that we will make at least one more signing, at least one, maybe two, maybe two. I think it's going to be one or two. You know, all these rumors, Michael, about Wesley Hood, you know, leaving the club, possibly leaving the club. I don't know if they're going to come to fruition, but I've heard the reports as well. A lot of reports saying that it's either Turkey, maybe Saudi Arabia. He's coming back from this knee injury. He's not played yet. He's expected to be appearing for Watford at some point in this month of August. It might be the game coming up on Tuesday. We'll see. I don't know where we're going with Wesley Hood, but we will see about that. Brown Electrons has said, "Come on, you Orns," on YouTube. Hello, Brown Electrons. Great to see you. Come on, you Orns. We are getting very close to match day starting in about 20 minutes time. I'll go about 5 more minutes with you on both YouTube and, of course, on Instagram. And I want to remind you all again, we'll be back here on YouTube and on Instagram after the match. With YouTube, it's going to be right after the match against Derby County, and on X, because we could do it in the X plus YouTube affair here. We're going to take live phone calls on X. You might be able to hear them on YouTube. We're going to take your live comments as well on both X and on YouTube. And then, of course, we'll do Instagram Live as well. You Orns Extra on Instagram Live coming up right, maybe about 15 minutes later, because, I mean, I don't have the platform bandwidth to make all three happen at once, but I'm working on it. So we will have a trifecta, hopefully, in the next few weeks. But I'm working on making that happen so we can get that to go. As my voice almost goes here on this edition of You Orns pre-match on both YouTube and on Instagram. So for about 2 or 3 more minutes then here before signing off and getting you ready for your match day start at the top of this hour, of course, with Watford taking on Derby at the Vic, the third of 3 consecutive home games. And we will see how Watford fare today. I think it's going to be Watford 2, Derby County 0 today in the Championship. We've had a myriad number of score predictions, including from Sean, who says now, if I had to choose, 5-0 to the Orns. Well done there, Sean, on the Instagram feed. Thank you very much, Sean, for your prediction. Does the YouTube channel have the same name as this Instagram account? It certainly does, Sean. So I will say you can join us on YouTube as well right now. It would be You Orns WFC is the same name. It's across all platforms at You Orns WFC. You can join us there right now for the next couple of minutes at least, Sean, on YouTube, and subscribe as well, of course, on YouTube, youtube.com/@You Orns WFC. And you can do that. And you can also look up at You Orns WFC on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel there, please. Thank you so very much indeed as you're watching live on YouTube. Thank you all for watching and joining us here on You Orns pre-match on YouTube. That is fantastic, and your comments are always welcomed. We'll be doing this again in post-match along with X at You Orns WFC on X, at You Orns WFC on Instagram, at You Orns WFC on YouTube. Great to have you all aboard here. Thank you so very much indeed for joining. Sean, thank you for the question about the YouTube channel, which you can join us on right now for the next couple of minutes as we go. Lots of comments coming in today on both Instagram and YouTube. That's great to see. And of course, we'll be getting ready for this game in just a couple of minutes' time. Michael Brown has said the new EFL has increased to 30 million this season, covering championship matches. Do you know how much of that money Watford will make? As I believe it's based on how many matches each club features in. I don't know exactly, Michael, on YouTube, how much money Watford will see of that. They made this new deal, the EFL, this season with Sky Sports, before the season actually with Sky Sports, and the revenue that comes from that. Because never before in England has there been such a broad-based coverage, as you might know. Never before in England has there been such a broad-based coverage of live football like this. In England, you were not able to previously get this many games covered live. Not like this, not quite in this way, that the Championship's now throwing open live coverage of all these games in conjunction with Sky. Now, Sky has got some good coverage, and you can see a lot of games, but not quite like this. This is never before seen. And so I don't know the answer to your question. I'll have to do some research on that, Michael, but they'll definitely get a fair bit of revenue from this. And they've got a partnership with Sky and iFollow, because if you want to watch this game, at least overseas, I think also domestically, but here in California, I get to watch these games now through iFollow with a partnership with Watford. And so I can see these games live with a paid subscription or a pay-per-view, pay-per-match basis. And so Watford are getting revenue that way, certainly. And they may also be getting various other incentive structures as well, Michael, in terms of the financing. But they're definitely making some money out of this in some way, shape, or form. So, Michael, thanks for the question. I need to do some more research and get a proper, a more detailed answer for you that hits the mark of the question that you asked. Blue Tiger Sean has joined us on YouTube. Thanks, Sean. Nice to see you on YouTube. We've got a Sean on Instagram and a Sean on YouTube as well. Thank you, Sean. And Sean on YouTube asked the following question: how comes you started supporting Watford, if you don't mind me asking? Well, Sean, I was born and raised and I grew up in a town not far away from Watford, less than 7 miles away. As a lad, I went to lots of Watford matches in the late 1970s and into the 80s. Certainly saw the glory days of Watford under Graham Taylor at the Vic. I used to stand, Sean, on the terraces at Vicarage Road. I don't know how old you might be, if you're old enough to remember them, but I remember them very well. I remember the Schrodel stand as well. I remember all of it. I was there, took pictures in the 1980s, was a Watford fan through and through, born and raised, and grew up in a town literally less than 7 miles from Watford. And so that's where my Watford following began as a kid, as a lad in Watford. Traveled to the club every home match pretty much throughout the 1980s. Certainly the first 4 or 5 years of the 80s, I'd go to all the matches, pretty much all the matches. Saw some wild matches. One of the craziest matches I saw back in the 1980s that I can think of that had lots of goals in it was the game between Watford and Everton. And Watford had Tony Coton in goal on his debut, and Watford lost the game 5-4. I was there. I was literally about 5 rows up from behind the Watford goal that Tony Coton started in the Watford terraces, the Vicarage Road stand terraces there. So that is the answer to the question. I'm the same one from Instagram. So Sean has moved over from Instagram all the way over here to YouTube. Thanks, Sean, for that. Eugene has joined us. Thank you. Your score predictions, then, Eugene is asking for. We've been doing them here for a number of minutes before Eugene came on. Eugene has revigorated that, and he's asking for that. Score predictions 4-0, says Eugene. Says Eugene on YouTube. 4-0 then. Watford 4, Derby 0, says Eugene. Thanks for that, Eugene. Sean says, nice to see you support the Orns for a good reason. Not old enough to remember Graham Taylor, but I definitely know lots about that era. Okay then, Sean. Absolutely. Thanks for that. Sean, who was on YouTube, on Instagram, moved over here to YouTube. Thanks, Sean, for that. Absolutely right. It was a great time. I met Graham Taylor many moons ago, Sean. It was just incredible on one of them open days that they did. Took a picture of it too. At least took a picture of Graham Taylor, not of me shaking his hand, but I've got to post that. I think I have that somewhere. I've got it on X for sure, at you ORNS WFC. I'll have to go and find it and then repost that picture, Sean. So if you follow on you ORNS WFC on X, I'll try to get that up for my followers there. But yes, there we are. Again, Sean, thank you very much. Eugene, Michael, Blue Tiger, Brown Electrons, everybody else who's been commenting on YouTube, thank you so very much indeed for that. Join me here on the YouTube channel live, You ORNS WFC, of course, and that will be the You ORNS YouTube post-match. Absolutely. That will be live along with the folks on X will be joining us as well. We'll take your phone calls on X. We'll take your comments on X, and we'll take your comments right here on YouTube as well. That's immediately after the game. And then for those of you watching on Instagram, it will be a few minutes after that because, of course, I'm trying to get the bandwidth so we can get all 3 of these platforms on at once. And I'm working on making that happen. It is now well, running a bit over the time that I said, but it is now 11 minutes to 3 in the United Kingdom, 11 minutes to 4 in the Czech Republic, and 11 minutes to 7 in the morning here in San Francisco, California. It is great to see you all here. Thank you so very much indeed, the You Orns WFC YouTube watchers. Thank you. We'll be back after the game. Please come back here and join us. And of course, on Instagram, thank you so very much indeed for your comments and for watching live on You Orns YouTube pre-match. You Orns pre-match on Instagram. So many platforms. I am trying to get them all right and not succeeding very well. But we'll be back after the match. We hope that Watford succeed today against Derby County. We're 10 minutes from match time, kickoff at the Vic. Go on, You Orns. Come on, You Orns. Let's go. And that will be it for now. Thank you very much, Greg, for the comments. Good. Keep up the good work, dude. Thank you very much, Greg. Keep following, keep supporting. Great to see you, Greg. Thank you for the kind comments. Always good to see you. Don't forget to spread the word on YouTube about the You Orns WFC YouTube channel and rejoin us, reconvene here after the game is over. That's it for YouTube now. Take care, everybody. Be well. And thank you very much indeed on both Instagram and on YouTube. Take care now. Come on, You Orns.